DreAllDay.com.
What's going on, y'all? Dre Baldwin, Dre All Day. This week's motivation is called going after the big fish. And going after the big fish basically means if you got an opportunity to take aim at a certain goal, why don't you see if you can go after the highest possible goal that is. For example, I was reading this book, man, it might have been a blog post one time. This guy was talking about, when I go to a bar, it'll be much easier for me to talk to the one chick in there who's a 10 than any of the 5 chicks in there who are an 8. Because what usually happens, or even a business guy once said, he said it's easier for me to raise $10 million than it is for me to raise $100 million as far as like startup money from investors and stuff like that. And both of them said it, the reason is the exact same thing, because average people, the average person is, the majority of people are average. Right? That's how we get the average. Average is the majority, right? Y'all understand that? So the majority of people, the average person is going to go after the average goal. So the average person, the first example, guy walks into the bar and he sees these women, 5 of them are 8s and 1 of them's a 10. He's going to go after one of the 8s because he sees himself as that equal. He sees that as his equal. Or I can go off on one of these 8s. That's his average. He doesn't see himself as going up to that pedestal or going after the 10, which means that 10, as attractive as she might be, she's not even getting talked to by as many people as the 8s, because so many people see themselves as average that they go after the average, which is the 8s. Does that make sense to y'all? And then we talk about the business person. He says it's easier to raise $10 million because it's less competition. There are fewer people trying to get $10 million. Everybody's trying to get $100,000. Let's say 99 people try to raise $100,000 and one person tries to raise $10 million. It's easier to get the $10 million because the competition is more scarce. So if you think about it, all you out there, whatever field that you're in your life, you think about where people have a chance to set their own goals. How many of them go for the average goal, and how many of them, and like there's a much higher goal right there in front of everybody, but nobody takes it. Why is that nobody's taking that goal? It's because people see themselves a certain way on a level of average, so that they go for the average, which means if you raise your standards a little bit higher, go after the big fish like I'm talking about in this motivational video, you'll find that it's easier to go after the big fish than it is to go after the small fish, because you got fewer people competing against you. So hopefully that makes sense to y'all. You can take that analogy and flip it to anything. So you're putting yourself on a higher plane socially. So in my example, you walk into that bar and you see the 5 8s and you see the 1 10. By going after that 10, even if you don't get it, you're setting yourself an example that says, okay, this is my standard. This is what I go after. You put yourself on a higher platform by doing that. So then when you go after the 8, it's easy because you already talked to the 10, even if you didn't get it. If you try to raise $10 million and you can't get it, raising $100,000 is nothing because you already went for $10 million. They might have said, we're going to give you 5. So you got $5 million over all the other people who set their aim, they set their level, their limit at $100,000. So you, just by going after the big fish, even if you don't get it, you're setting yourself on a higher plane above the people who stay in their place. Most people in life, when we say most people, we mean the majority, which means the average. Most people in life, they figure they got a certain place in life. They say, this is my level right here, this is where I belong, I don't need to step outside of these lines because that's what my life is. And I know most of you watch this video will say, no, that's not me. I understand that most of the people watching this video, we're not average. You don't think average. But the majority of people, we talking about 8-10 billion people in the world, they think that, I'm right here, this is where I need to stay. When you go after the big fish, you put yourself on a higher level, and if you keep going after the big fish consistently, you make it a habit, it becomes part of your character, you don't even have to think about it. You become a person that's on a higher level without even trying. Work on your game, Dre all day.
This is Fred Medev. I'm from Slovakia. Work on your game.